Hello students, welcome to Ashish Polala classes. Today in the present lecture, I am going to start the third phase in the constitutional history, which had been started in the year 1858 and which is ended in the year 1919. This third phase is popular by the name of the end of companies rule in India and the initiation of direct British rule in India. During this phase, the first act which was passed by the British Parliament was the Government of India Act 1858. Why the British Parliament had to pass the Government of India Act 1858? The answer is very simple. This significant act was enacted in the wake of revolt of 1857, and this revolt of 1857 is also known as the First War of Independence or the Sepoy Mutiny. This Sepoy Mutiny was an unsuccessful rebellion which was against the British rule in India, and this Sepoy Mutiny was started in the year 1857 and it ends in the year 1859. This Sepoy Mutiny was started from Meerut by the Indian troops who were in the services of British East India Company, and it spread gradually in the area of Delhi, Agra, Kanpur and Lucknow. So here we are watching that this Sepoy Mutiny was basically in the northern India. This act abolished the East India Company, and this act transferred the government of India from the East India Company to the British Crown. After passing this act, India is to be governed by and in the name of Her Majesty from England. This transfer of the company's government to the British Crown was announced as well by a royal proclamation, which royal proclamation was made by the Queen of England itself. Under this act, the Board of Control and Court of Director were abolished. It is very important to note that the concept of Board of Control and Court of Director were abolished under this act, and their power were transferred to one of Her Majesty's Secretary of the State. This act changed the designation of the Governor General of India to that of the Viceroy of India. And this is the post which is today known as the post of President of India. So again, I am coming back to this topic. It changed the designation of the Governor General of India to that of the Viceroy of India. The Viceroy was the direct representative of the British Crown in India. And who was the first Viceroy of India? Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. This act created a new office as well, and this office was the Secretary of State for India. The powers of the Crown were to be exercised by the Secretary of the State for India, who was a member of the British Cabinet. And this Secretary of State for India was responsible ultimately towards the British Parliament. He was accountable what is going on in India. The secretary was required to submit to British Parliament annually a statement of moral and material progress made by him in India. To do all these functions correctly, the Secretary of State for India was assisted by a council which consisted 15 members. The council of 15 members was known as the Council of India. In this council, initially, only 8 members of the Council of India were appointed by the Crown, whereas the remaining 7 members were to be elected by the Court of Directors. As we have studied, that under this act, the concept of Court of Director was abolished. So, all the future vacancies of 15 members were to be filled up by the Crown of England. The council was designated as an advisory body. The Secretary of State of India was made the chairman of the council. The important appointments of law member, advocate general, or the governor general in Council of India were to be made by the King of England. This act constituted the Secretary of the State in Council as a body corporate who was capable of suing as well as being capable of being sued in India as well as in England. So this was something about the salient feature of Government of India 1858. But there were two limitations of the Government of India 1858, which is also very important to note. And what was those limitations? The first limitation of the Government of India 1858 was it confined to the improvement of administrative machinery by which Indian government was to be supervised and controlled from India. That means to say, this act created nothing good for India, but it was confined only to the improvement in the administration machinery by which our Indian government was to be supervised and controlled from the King of England or from the Queen of England. This act did not alter in any substantial way the system of government that prevailed in India before passing of this act. So this is something about the present lecture. Thank you very much.